Hey guys, welcome to the 5th episode of my Axial SCX10 build series. The axles, suspension links, shocks, and transmission have been assembled in the previous episodes, and in this episode, I will go over steps 27 to 45 of the SCX10 Raw Builders Kit. Now before we begin, I want to thank all of you guys for the amazing support. When I first started this channel, I never really expected anyone to watch my videos, but you guys have definitely changed that. Alright, let's get to the building. For steps 27 to 45, you will need bag F, parts from bag 3, chassis rails, a steering servo, receiver, a hex wrench, and a nut wrench. Step 17 assembles the battery tray. First, thread the tabs so it's easier to screw in when attaching them. Then, you can secure them to the battery tray, each with a screw. Now, you can slide in the Velcro straps and secure it to the battery tray. To install the servo, first secure a small mounting bracket to the battery tray. Make sure not to tighten it completely. Then, you can attach one side of the servo with 2 screws. For the other side, install a different bracket on top of the servo. You can see here that I put it under the servo, but I made a mistake while filming, so it should be on top. You can then secure them with 2 screws. Now, you can go back to the first bracket and tighten the screw down. You can then insert the servo wire into the side clip. Moving on to the chassis, secure the front bumper brace to the left chassis rail with 1 screw. Then, line up the battery tray and secure it to the chassis rail with another screw. The next 2 screws go through the shock tower to the battery tray. For step 31, you will need to choose your wheelbase before attaching the rear shock towers. Since I am going with a 12.3 inch wheelbase, I am using these 2 holes. Next, line up the rear chassis brace to the 2 holes and attach the rear shock tower to it. Now you can attach a bumper brace with another screw. For step 32, first install a center brace under the battery tray. Next, route the servo wire through a chassis piece and secure them with a screw. Next 2 screws go through the chassis rail and attach to the transmission. But as you can see here, the 550 motor I installed is too long, so I will have to switch to a 540 motor in the future. For now, I'll leave it without the motor. Now, we can attach the chassis piece to the transmission. The other side has essentially the same steps, so I'll fast forward that part. Now we can move on to attaching the front axle. First, attach the middle suspension link to the left chassis rail. Then, attach the front drive shaft with a grub screw. Now you can attach the two other suspension links, each with a screw. When installing the front shocks, make sure the springs have the yellow spring rate. To install the servo horn, first make sure the servo is centered. Once it's centered, put the servo horn on the servo as straight as possible and secure it with a spline screw. Since I am using an aftermarket servo horn, I don't need to use the lock nut, but if you're using the stock one, use pliers to secure the lock nut and screw on the other side with a hex wrench. After the servo horn, don't forget to install the panhard link. The rear axle is simpler and only requires a screw for each link. Then, installing the rear shocks will complete the rear of the vehicle. Now we can install the electronics, of which the ESC and receiver are both held down with double-sided tape. The servo wire plugs into channel 1 and ESC channel 2. Now you can seal the receiver box by securing the lid with 4 countersunk screws. With the electronics installed, throw on the wheels and it's ready for some test runs.